no second chances left. The winner of this match will be going through to the quarterfinals, and the loser will be heading home. We've sent teams home already, and Bala, neither of these teams want to go home at this stage of the tournament.
Sentinels has never been in this position before top 8 in an international tournament. They're not going to want to do it again, and they've got a fire under them. They are so ready.
You keep talking about the fire underneath them. I keep thinking about how KRÜ, just in the background right now, is screaming their hearts out. If I can ever look at a team and I'm like, there's momentum behind them, it is with KRÜ right now, because they lost a match that they were or rather they won a match they were touted to lose. They've now got the momentum, and there's been a clear shift in the way, and the team has dynamics throughout their maps thus far.
I'll tell you one thing, never doubt Sentinels in a lower bracket run, and that's what this is at this point, right? Never doubt it.
Yeah, I always feel like you should never doubt Sentinels, almost full stop there. But of course, you know, the trajectory of both of these teams have been pretty different. Sentinels, Reykjavik, they were the best team in the world, and since then they've dropped a little bit, whereas KRÜ, Reykjavik, very underwhelming, but Jess, ever since then, they've just gotten better and better.
That's what you want to see from teams, is we don't want any of this repetitiveness. Don't come back-to-back tournaments doing exactly the same thing with the exact same mistakes. You had time to work with. I have no doubt, and I know I keep referencing the coach, but this is sort of me going back to my old coach brain. I can see that he's very serious about what he wants to do with this team.
Yep.
And when they get that win, or even with the loss, things get real serious, and I'm loving the way that he's pushing that high.
I really do like how KRÜ has changed things up. They're really sticking with the idea, I think, that a lot of teams are. Permajet on Nags, don't give Kesnet something else. Make him play the agents that are very, very strong aside from that, so we have that Permajet, and this should be good for them. So let's see.
This is going to be fun, guys. We're into the Prime Gaming Agent Select. Of course, we've seen KRÜ play already, but keep your eyes on Sentinel. So Shaz has moved over to the breach, as you theorized there, Bala. Yeah, no Astra, no Raze. They're at least comfort picks for them.
Yeah, so they're playing Sky as well, which is pretty useful on Fracture, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting not running the double controller. I think this is probably my least favorite controller composition on Fracture, but Sentinels, of course, can do it.
I mean, if it works for them, like, I'm not going to be able to turn around and doubt it, but I definitely think that if I'm looking over to the KRÜ side of things, having the Astra, having the Viper, that is my preferred way of looking at a composition on Fracture. Obviously, you can use it in a couple of ways, different form, but last time we saw KRÜ on this map, Kesnet on the breach was the man to look forward to, and right behind him was Mazzino on the Cypher. So for those two players, are they going to step up again? I know Delzik had a little bit of a quiet one on the Astra as well. I mean, we could see a different kind of KRÜ here today.
I mean, we've also got the Cypher versus Killjoy matchup. I know a lot of people prefer the Cypher on this map because what the breach can do to the Killjoy utilities.
Yeah, but I think it's the same debate over and over and over for Killjoy versus Cypher, I think, on any map, especially with breach now in the meta and on Fracture specifically. But yeah, not access to that lockdown and underpass is not that big of a deal, I think, for KRÜ, but of course Sentinels will have it.
Well, I cannot wait to see the debut of Sentinels on this map. It's time to throw this over to your casters for the game, Pansy and Hypok.
Let's get it.
Well, it is the last chance to dance for one of these two teams. And what a set of circumstances that we're looking at this matchup under the map, the agents, a couple of external factors, don't know.
What are you talking about?
Couldn't tell you. But jumping into the first map now, talk to me about this stylistic matchup here. How does this look? We have not seen Sentinels lean into this yet. How are your expectations starting to build here?
I look at this map, Vito, and I think actually if KRÜ were to stand any chance here, this is the best. And again, I know the desk has said this, but again, this really, you talk about who's going to be tested on this Sentinels roster. And for me, it's the sixth man. It's Raucus. There's some data on record here from KRÜ. How do they adapt to this? Because the composition is another one, and again, we can cover that as the rounds do progress, but this is the best possible chance that KRÜ could have in this series.
There is an atmosphere to this game. And it's definitely got a lot of people watching. KRÜ got a whole new set of fans as well. But Tenz going to kick things off, at least with the first tag here. But he gets a little bit of a secondary layer to that fight. Not as clean as he wanted, and first blood is drawn for KRÜ.
Actually, a fantastic setup here. Spike not really committed anywhere, so find that first blood on a little bit of a, I guess, a proactive play out of Dish there between Sick and Tenz. KRÜ will pause for thought for the time being, and again, just come back to composition. They have so much swing here from this mid to late round transition in terms of running the double controller, having so many options of how they want to hit a site at the minute. See the Viper wall committed towards B. Again, no real progress elsewhere. See now Klaus and Delzik We'll walk up here. Still 2 members of Sentinels though left to hold down, but dappr's utility invested just to hold tower right now.
Well, we saw it being a key part of this map in the prior games, and you can see as to why. Already going to be cleared, but at this point they are down to about 25 seconds, so it will be a goer. Now, dapr needs to hold this, and he can't. He actually lets it slip through his fingertips. Down to a 5v3, and piece by piece, KRÜ are doing quite well. The first one to find the fight back will be Shaz, still lingering around the site. You can see him just on those back lines by that canteen area, but the spike goes down.
10 seconds.
We'll be in a retake scenario.
Spike planted.
A couple of members still tagged up. Mixwell down to 61 HP. Nags on 16 HP. ShahZaM just comes out, finds one for free there. Able to dip back out as well, so brings us to a 3v3.
He just pushed the wall. Klaus is just lined up. This is weird as anything, but finally, since it's going to be Zom's coming in, proving a point, but down to the 1v1. Sick up against Nags it, and the HP is so low. A touch on the spike. He wants this halfway, and he's going to sit for this one. Hello, Nags it. There it is. Sick with a shot and a half. And that's the first time I've heard Sentinels get fired up. And this is something we can't under-talk about. We can't undersell to you. Sentinels, look, they have been in the limelight a fair bit, be it in the server or out. But we've yet to see them motivated, fired up, really gunning for it. And I've got to say, I can't imagine a more dangerous side than this team with full motivation, full want to prove a point.
For sure, yeah. I mean, you look at the flip side of that, it's... it was a clean shot, actually, busted. You look at the flip side of that, KRÜ, I think, team, again, we talk about this being an elimination game, nothing to lose it, everything to gain. Sentinels, actually.
Buyback.
The 2021 Dynasty in question, straight through here. Nags all the way through, will find Tenz.
Look, this pace coming out from Nags is incredible, but Zoms has just about slipped away for now, but he's going to be shaking in his boots for a second or two. He is a lucky boy. There's 2 players on the other side. The wall drop, he still gets one to fall up. No. Gesnit will at least maintain composure, but now they know there's a purchase now coming out from both sides, and they're aware this is a little abnormal to what they'd expect.
Potential to get overrun here. dapr's got to back away. And a man advantage in favor of KRÜ. Six got himself into a disgusting position. Actually got dapr for support. Hey, look at this, they come through, they find 3 kills.
That was impeccable work from Sentinels to keep that under wraps. That could have spiraled so badly. Mazzino's dealt with Sentinels, keep 3 alive, and they deal with that buyback from KRÜ.
And again, willing to go toe-to-toe in terms of stopping this hit before it even gets to the site. Zom's in a, again, one and done, but in that scenario, that's all you can ask for. He's just buying time for the rotation to come through, and you can see Sick
Look at that flash.
and dapr. It's actually ShahZaM that sets this up.
Absolutely.
So well played, and again, you think back actually with this composition here, you're looking for the utility of dapr to just buy enough time, again, 3 to 5 seconds to get some more bodies towards, because these defensive setups have kind of got to be all in. They have to be one way or the other, so they rely on that rotation factor.
Delzik can be forced away only for a second, still willing to challenge. Early utility going to be invested to just try and keep a little bit of KRÜ at bay, who are very much willing to take a couple additional fights. Fall back eventually as the purchase is substantially better this time for Sentinels. We see that Guardian once again for Tenz, but Klaus has found dapr. Delzik just got Zoms. Okay, another round is very much not necessarily up in the air, but it could get pretty sketchy at this point.
So Tenz will still holding. Actually, Gesnit will find ShahZaM. That's a wallbang through to spawn, I believe, just off to the right of the screen here. Gesnit already on the spike now. And the Delzik, who is down to 15 HP, but will be able to pass through. And actually, Tenz is going to take a tag there. Potential here to try and get the regrowth and heal back from Sick before they attempt this. It's now a 2v4 retake.
See what you got. Tenz with someone to facilitate. Flash goes in, push comes out, clears. First contact found. Tenz towards Mazzino, going to open up a pathway forward, but look at the HP, it's being worked back. Sick with a lovely pick, and now we're going to be down to the 2v2, make it a 2v1. Just Tenz alive, and the double stack towards tower is a problem. How does he somehow dismantle this? I do not know. These two are just... These two are just going to play to the timing, and he knows it. Can he force the hand? Unfortunate, it looks like so far. Gonna maybe draw a little more blood, but I feel as though he knows it. Time to back away. KRÜ are fired up here today. That is round 3, gonna be going their way no matter which way you want to cut it.
Again, the round 2 force comes, and it's actually the bonus round here. The Sentinels, I don't want to say fumble, but let slip through their fingers almost.
Some mad shots, I mean.
Absolutely. Again, that's the difference maker. A Marshall can be in around like that. Kesnet finding the first, again, a crucial tag to force Tenz back ahead of that spike cross into sight. Has to force that heal. Just a couple of really, really key pieces of that round that ultimately tips it in KRÜ's favor.
Hey, and how many times has Tenz done that to others? You know
exactly.
what? Like, it's a little bit of that flip of the script on this, but the buy now coming back in, kind of across the board. Tenz still going to be locked to what he was on, but the rest a decent enough purchase coming out for KRÜ, and I want to see if that aggression continues. Do they still meet them on all fronts, but patience being shown this time, maybe expecting this play coming out, which so far has taken a fair bit of territory.
And again, just thinking back to what Six said in that video piece, wanting to slow things down here seems to be the game plan for KRÜ as well. They're playing very deep, both outside arcade and B main here. We'll retrieve one orb, and dapr actually going to get the better of Klaus. Be able to heal back up, and expect Sick to always be the buddy system there, the second layer to some of these pushes to make sure that they can mitigate any damage that KRÜ are able to achieve.
Turret now removed. Patience being shown. Look at the difference in pace from the first couple of rounds to this. Composure now to be tested on both sides.
And nothing else now that the turret's dealt with, so 3 members of KRÜ will be able to at least get a little closer towards dapr. A little bit of utility will force him out, but again, look at this. It's a key point of the round here where Sentinels are able to get here so quickly.
30 seconds. All players are pretty much present, barring one. That'll be Zom's working his way over slowly but surely, but contact's been made. Nags is going to try and pinch through, but the pinch with Mazino is perfect. You're bang on with that. Tower is now under KRÜ control.
Here.
Look at the spike, just about planted.
It might even be forced out of this corner here. He's going to eat a lot of damage. Tenz actually will get 2.
What a shot from Tenz, but he still needs a little more here. 3 on his side, 2 for the opponent's Kesnet. And Mazino, there's that bit of contact. Tenz is still standing. He still wanted to do this for his side, but Mazino's found 2. Tenz suddenly under the gun, pops the ult. He knows the pressure is now there. Clear sight, sees nothing. He knows he's fallen back. Can he draw him in? Can he try and pull Mazino in? Can Mazino hold his nerve? Tenz on the cross, he gets him! Gorgeous play from Tenz. And that's the man the Sentinels need right now to maintain that brilliance, to kindle that time and time again, because you're seeing it from KRÜ. Mazino then made that round almost viable.
Absolutely. I mean, Tenz, again, you talk about the defensive half here from Sentinels with this composition, with the way the utility is going to be invested towards A on the side of Zoms. Again, Tenz is the one that you ultimately need to find some value here. He's the one that needs to kind of, not necessarily be on damage control, but make sure that Sentinels are maintaining an advantage through some of these early rounds. At this point, I mean, the dude's a Guardian main. We're seeing by him so often now. Stick to it.
Let's go.
dapr had sigh of relief after that one.
And as much as Sentinels have been blasé in the past about how they feel about tournaments and, you know, how their attitudes have been, people have certainly called to question. Keep in mind, this is just kind of a bit of a Hiko coming out for KRÜ, so that's an investment of an ult, so keep on that. But this is them hearts in it. There's no 2 ways to cut this. This is elimination. There's no more, well, we're going to, you know, look towards this game, that game. This is the end of the line.
Yeah, I'm with Bala, actually. He's said that obviously Masters 3 was a little bit blasé. A little bit of pressure comes through towards A Hall here. Tenz backs away from the door. Again, got ShahZaM on standby here towards ropes as well. Obviously, Zom's still committed to site. Zoms is in the server. I know we haven't seen him just yet, but KRÜ been focusing a lot on B site here. On that one round we did see in round 2. He tucked in with a Spectre here.
It's going to be a whole lot of burst potential coming his way. It's going to be Nagset who's going to keep my eye if he can maybe do what somewhat Tenz did in that prior round, be that leveraging factor, but this purchase isn't as good to supplement, but we'll see. Timing becoming a factor now, 35 seconds. They have to make a go of this. Tenz finds Klaus, and that's going to be the back line now removed. Fault line is indeed looking spot on. Tenz is going to put his body on the line. There goes the main danger factor. This is being quelled very quickly. Nice work from Sentinels here. Nothing too much to write home about, apart from the fact that, honestly, keeping it this clean, looking sharp, not over-pushing, not getting complacent is a very good look here.
Yeah, again, could potentially question the investment of the Viper's pit here.
10 seconds left.
A little late on in the day, but again, with Zoms on that Spectre, got to make sure that that weapon's capitalized at least. With the Prime Gaming flawless coming out from Sentinels here. Obviously, a little bit of a save round. Just pistols, nothing else really, I mean, other than the Blade Storm, but this is the one now that, again, in terms of momentum, if KRÜ need to answer back, it needs to be now. Stop before a little bit more of a bankroll can be built up by Sentinels. And again, talking about wanting to slow things down, they're ultimately dictating the pace here. They're obviously reacting very, very quickly on any presence shown. I'm going to say KRÜ really not spread thin enough, if anything. You see, obviously, a couple of times Zeno and Klaus set up towards bridge and obviously arcade and dish, but they're not really pulling anything. There's nothing that Sentinels need to throw out unnecessarily.
Now, the adjustment coming in will be that op for Nag, so let's see how this fares. Kind of working in dry as it stands, not really trying to give away too much. You can get that. Oh, perfect beginning. He's in danger.
Tenz, man.
What a punishment from Tenz. Yeah, that is gorgeous work from them. They can fall away from that. They don't have to police that weapon just yet, but we look across the rest of the map. Yes, there are 2 Spectres, but with that first pick coming in, they don't have to be too panicked.
And that's beautiful there again. dapr's just shouldering from tower, and Tenz actually stood on a dirty off angle at the bottom of the steps. So difficult to deal with.
I love seeing that verticality just kind of utilized here, making it a very difficult approach for even a rifle, let alone an op. ShahZaM's playing under drop. Gonna have to deal with this eventually. And the spike is still leaning towards that A site. There are currently 3 players present for Sentinels as well, so being too much of a bother. Crossfire should hold for now. Let's see if any of that utility can pull it out of pressure. You can see the pressure is certainly mounting. Dells are going to find Zoms. That opens things up. Mazino, the second layer. Sight now could be ready for the taking. ShahZaM tries to deny, but it's not going to happen. Where did Tenz just come from? Jump scaring Klaus, and now a 2v2.
We'll get the plant through again. The Cosmic Divide going to deny that audio information on the door. So an attempt from Tenz to bait this, but dapr and Tenz now a 2v2 have to find a way back onto site. An awful lot of utility to work with either.
2 kills already for Tenz. Looking like a man on a mission this game. He sees a pixel out of place, but he knows there's going to be a crossfire here somewhere. How can he dismantle it? Not like that. Delzik finds one. Kesnet holds. The crossfire is maintaining. KRÜ. Beautiful post plant.
And this is the one where you ultimately needed an answer back from KRÜ. If anything, if there's to be any sort of criticism here, cost them a little more than they maybe would have hoped. I have to take a look at just how it sits after this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Klaus is going to be able to get something. There's a couple of opportunities for a drop through anyway, but again, Viper's Pit invested, and Tenz just gets ahead of the curve there. He's able to stop that from blooming all the way onto site and ultimately giving KRÜ a fantastic opportunity to hold that pretty much flawlessly.
Speaking of the ops presence, Tenz now going to be looking towards that, but maybe a early scrap here. A little bit of a biff towards bench. Flashes galore. You can see the utility has at least kind of hindered a little bit of those early looks that maybe Sentinels wanted, but now tower control still in place. All the protocols are still fine right now for Sentinels.
So again, this is sort of around here where you talk about the rotation factor. ShahZaM just towards spawn. Again, he's going to dip towards ropes if there is any contact in A-hall, but again, it relies on dapr and Sick buying so much time. We don't know, obviously, Tenz has played over towards B-side a couple of times, but expect him now with the operator to continue to rotate as these rounds progress. I mean, if you can hold on to this operator, obviously. And a slow approach once again. I don't feel like with this early round, with this kind of slow approach, KRÜ aren't necessarily figuring out the setup from Sentinels. It's almost like they're drifting back and forth and just kind of ending up somewhere, ending up committing to a site.
I wonder if there's more layers to this as it goes on. For now, though, it does seem as though it is constricting towards that B side. Already Sick going to get Klaus.
Straight away, ShahZaM's here already.
And you're right, it's the rotations. They always have that additional man on the site so quickly. The rotations are on the way. dapr looks unfazed so far, finally losing control of tower, but there is that second layer to this. Sick still here. You've got Shaz not far off. And let's see if he can keep that timing just right. He's under pressure, but still Shaz keeps him safe. This is fantastic work. Lovely shot, but it's kept in check. Round goes to Sentinels.
It is, yeah, and again,
trust me.
All there is effectively there to slow that down is a nano swarm and alarm bot, right?
Yep.
That's what stops Nags from kind of digging a little deeper and committing to finding that opening engagement. But again, you come through there, then the aftershock comes through, it slows down that tower push even more. Sentinels can then pivot towards watching arcade and main and fully commit to holding both of those angles, and they make the most of those 5 seconds. This is maybe the 3rd example now where we've seen that. Truly clean stuff, honestly. It's just mastering the clock.
And I'm just loving the push and pull coming out from Sentinels right now. It feels like you don't get a clean fight on any of them.
No,
there's always that second line, there's always that crossfire, there's always that layer in place. However, this round we look at what the purchase is coming for KRÜ, and it's not going to be much to write home about. It's light across the board. Spectre, Frenzy, Hey, we've seen Classics do some damage, but it doesn't seem as though it's going to be the case this time around. Shrez gets a little overzealous, not to be the case. Sprays in, he's fine. Flawless round. Private Gaming flawless round. The Sentinels are going to start taking a couple of steps here, and this, if there was ever doubts, if there was ever a moment where you sit there and go, you know, do they feel that kind of, I guess, chemistry? Are they playing as a collective? Does it look good as a team? I think this is a tick in the box for Sentinels here.
Absolutely. Again, this is blank canvas in terms of this map on Fracture in particular, so it's fantastic to see this level. Again, the concern being they have that taste for blood, right? Once they get the wind in their sails, are KRÜ going to be able to dig themselves out of a hole? Because we're leaning towards that now. Again, you look at what's behind this purchase here. There's 1,300 credits across the board. Ultimate progress questionable in terms of what they can rely on outside of a full purchase round.
Yep.
And this is when, it, again, mathematically, it just becomes so hard to keep this game honest, at least keep Sentinels in check.
Yeah, and I feel like coming into this game, we were kind of expecting one of two things. Fired up Sentinels, and they kind of thrive under that pressure, right? Make a diamond of themselves. Or KRÜ finds that weakness in the armor. They're able to get beneath it. And there was a very real chance of it, and there still is. I like the timeout coming in now. I think this is the perfect time to try and pull this away from Sentinels to make sure they do not bound deeper into that momentum swing. But KRÜ does need to get a grip on this and fast. Yeah,
and again, you talk about the mental game here. It's with the way these rounds have gone out, and you talk about kind of, I say arrogance, I say ego. Those are all kind of the flavors, the pedigree of Sentinels. But the biggest concern comes if they pay no respect to KRÜ. And actually what we're seeing here is actually, in some rounds, a very deep hold, very cool, calm, collected, and ultimately that composure factor, which is something with Sentinels, again, you could probably question in some of their losses. Some of the, these tilt buy rounds and these tilt peaks and all those sorts of things. But it's not apparent here whatsoever.
No. So let's see what KRÜ have done after that timeout, coming back into things. See if they can find an adjustment, find a way forward. 3-play stack to greet them just on this corner. Klaus prioritizing, trying to get that orb, and Tenz with a big deny. Huge first pick, and Klaus gets sent packing. They have to reevaluate this. They don't get the full picture of what was around that corner either.
Well, again, it's all the controllers lost, so they do relinquish some of that utility, some of that map control that was inherently gained by... ShahZaM's going to spot a rifle as well. Mazzino got to be careful here. We'll back away, actually, because the poison orb is there, but 3 members of Sentinels now over towards A site. And he's just posted up now. A little deeper, just watching towards B main as well. And see already Nagzet and Kesnet set up over the side. A bit of an adjustment from dapr's utility as well. So this is kind of to stop exactly what we're probably going to see from KRÜ here.
Yeah. Here comes that explosive hit, but Tenz is still fine, and the crossfire still holds. dapr sends Nagzet back, and it's going to be Mazzino and Delzik to try and do something with this, but it's looking rough around the edges. dapr just postured up. He wants that fight. He wants the frag, and he gets it. Delzik down and out. Mazzino, what can you do with it? Flashed confirmed attendance. They know where you're at. They're all there. It's a firing squad. And he may take one, but Sick takes the round, and Sentinels hold once again. This side looks sharp today.
It does, and actually, again, you come back to those criticisms of the composition. I'm right there with Baller, obviously, and what they discussed on the desk in just running the Viper here. But the way that Sentinels are playing this, they don't have to rely on that late round. They don't have to rely on, the adjustments or having all this utility late on, because ultimately, KRÜ aren't really baiting an awful lot out. They're not dealing with any of this utility because it's so deep towards site. It requires them walking all the way up to stairs on B. It requires them walking all the way through A main to figure out these setups. So, honestly, Sentinel's not really putting their foot out right here.
No, and ShahZaM has been a bit of a rock for them here. I want to see how he fares in this hit, because now the pressure swings towards that A side. But again, they still have 3 players, almost 4 in attendance straight away. These rotations are flawless, and you can have Sick on the flank. They're already boxed in. They're already cornered in. You'd need someone like maybe Mazzino to do something about this. Just the tag for now. But there's the flank, and Sick puts them to bed, tucks them in, and says goodnight. KRÜ. Oh, dearie me, it's not looking pretty, and this is readable as you like. Oh, it's 4 of them on one side. Where's the other?
And again, Mazzino's been here pretty much every single round, just trying to gather some information. Please deal with some of the pushes coming out here. dapr doing dapr things with a jump-in headshot here, but fault line for good measure, and actually you can see another member. The Trailblazer going to stun him. Mazzino has so much to deal with here. dapr eventually puts him down, but Again, another example here. ZaM's able to buy so much time before anybody from KRÜ can get through that choke point. Again, the control of ropes is picked up ultimately by one of the people on Sentinels that's rotating. They can just swing through here, but I mean, by name and by nature, Six straight away, as soon as this contact comes in A main, he's right out B main. Again, just charging all the way through. No tripwire actually to deal with, so I don't actually think KRÜ had any idea this flank was coming.
Nope, absolutely unawares. And yes, it was up against, you know, odds and ends, but again, a confidence builder. And that's what something I've got to look at Sentinels. If you're in that lower bracket run, you're going to need. Same with KRÜ, but sadly, it's just not been there this time. And once again, the readable start, but a slight adjustment for 2 to be on that kind of backside to this 3-2 split. Seekers come in, ShahZaM goes straight on through. He wants the fight, and he's going to take the fight. Tries to fall away, got to be careful about this. Klaus is not far away, and dapr trying to find the time just right. Tenz keeps eyes on that drop. And those two players unable to be as impactful as maybe they'd like.
Shut out this one out. Doms again. Oh. Look at him. Those were Delzik and Kesnet before they even get to sight. Your body's here. A real threat towards him. Klaus the last man standing. Tenz will find it. This is clinical from Sentinels. They have an answer for absolutely everything from KRÜ.
Oh, it gives you chills. If this is what we're going to see throughout this game, it is only map 1. We'd have Haven and Split to follow if it gets that far, but this was one of the win conditions we looked at with KRÜ. We thought this veto was actually very strong for them.
I mean, they have to come out and, I'll be honest, show us something magical on Haven after this. Fracture was the one swing point in this veto for me, and with it going this way, like I said, I think Sentinels, they've got a fire in their belly. And this is the byproduct, right? They're here to play today. They're not here to play mess around. Sorry.
No, there is zero messing around from these boys. Right, feels good. Shaz, you can't get away from him. He's got the ult power as well. ShahZaM has been ever on this map. Delzik does at least claw one back, but is there anything more to be found? It feels like you don't just get one fight, you get the rest of them, but the ult comes in, and finally you get the full picture. Spike going down, maybe 3 on the board. That could be recovery for KRÜ if the curse is going to be true. However, ZaM still finds Klaus. dapr. Ooh, Mazzino, you are lucky to be alive, but confidence now building with dapr as he tries to close the gap. 2 players now getting away with their life, but this post plant is not bad. All of them behind this divide.
Again, they've got a good opportunity here to hold Sentinels before they can really cross towards site. You see the ping coming through here. Six actually going to flash out of the conflict divide, drop it.
The timing!
dapr will find a kill!
Oh my word! It's finally been held by KRÜ. That post-plant crossfire, that Astra divide, pretty much garnering them that moment. This is just a small chance, though.
But again, it's so frustrating to see in round 12 is the first time they get ahead of that rotation. They're not afraid to just push in, commit to it. And that there, it shows the weakness potentially in the Sentinel setup.
You have to see if that carries on in the second half. Let's hand it back to the desk to talk about what we've just seen.
Thank you very much, guys. Bala, you spoke about this beforehand. When Sentinels are hungry, when they know they have to win, they are scary, and they brought that form today.
Yeah, they definitely did. I saw good things out of literally every single one of them. I even saw Tenz kind of start slow, and then boom, instantly in like round 4, he gets a 4K. These types of things are so good for them moving forward.
I wanted to see the breach plays. I know I was speaking about the fact that they only had one controller, and I was doubting it, but it turned out ShahZaM could do the job of many, and well, many he did, and that's something I really liked about their squad.
I want to explain a little bit about the single controller here, because you actually think about it, who else is going to run the Viper but ZaMs, right, on this team? dapr can do it, but then you're losing the Sentinel, and you need it on Fracture. So I actually think with Sentinel specifically, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, honestly, when we're watching this map, it just feels like all of their shots are just landing. Every single one of them, they're winning their duels and they're doing really well.
And I mean, I want to double down on what I said about ShahZaM, is that every time Kesnet is throwing out those flashes and whatnot and trying to enable Nags, for example, Nags is getting denied instantly by Shaz every single time he goes at it. He's not able to get the entries, he's not able to make the space, and as a result, Nags has only gotten 2 kills for the trouble so far. If Sentinels could deny a player anymore, if they could dominate a player anymore, I'd like to see it, because that's a heavy, heavy suffocation.
I think one of the problems, though, is that he is trying to be enabled, when I think it should be Nags as a Jet making space for his players. I know Kesnet's playing a breach, but we saw what he could do yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see him get the space to enable him and not full commit to those pushes. And on defensive side, it's going to be the same thing on some of these extremities as well.
I want to double down yet again about what Baller said. If you want to commit to a push, fine, but stop committing every single round, because Sentinels Sentinels read into it and they started flanking instantly. They knew they didn't have to worry about the rotate after a while, and all of a sudden they're just pushing site and they know exactly where it's coming from.
Well, it's looking great for Sentinels, but KRÜ, they got to pull out something in the second half if they want a decent chance in this series. Back to you, Pansy and Hypok.
And even the scoreboard, I have to note this. ShahZaM, to me, has been inescapable. He's been omnipresent. Literally. You cannot get away from that man. Now, the side does switch, though, so I want to see how KRÜ are able to achieve a similar look in my mind. Can they find a little bit of that themselves coming into this?
The concern being similar look for Sentinels, right? They had their finger on the pulse that entire first half. And if they can achieve the same in terms of rotations and whatnot here on their attack, then it's going to be very difficult for KRÜ to deal with. Mizzino actually.
Lovely.
Oh,
Klaus! Out of nowhere finds 2 big kills. That's massive. Confidence now booming with KRÜ trying to take that fight through tower. It's not pretty as sick. Will become the victor in that, and now tower's under Sentinel control. We're down to 4 still standing. Make it 3. ShahZaM, as said, the inescapable force right now for Sentinels. The 3v3, but HP is low for Klaus, and the spike, shout out to the observers, is very much down.
A couple of open sight lines here. Kesnet actually catches a headshot there. ShahZaM piling on the pressure here. 5 HP on Klaus, 13 on Kesnet. Delzik got to be the one to
the HP, man.
Swing this back in KRÜ's favor, if possible.
Well, let's see what Delzik can do. Tower is his first port of call, but 6 noted it. 17 HP ain't much, though, and Flash ain't up for 10 seconds. Oh, it's a bit of a messy one, but it does work out. But that's what we were worried about. Oh, Tommy the Turret's done enough to take down Klaus, leaving all on Delzik, who's good for another. The 1v1, but dappr's HP is looking real fine, real pretty. And yeah, the tag got close, but dapr beats him across the line. So now 10 rounds sitting with Sentinels. That was a pretty fired up round, though, from KRÜ. That was not as clean as maybe Sentinels would have wanted.
No, and again, I think made a comparison with Sentinels wanting to go toe-to-toe and kind of stop access towards site. You could say Klaus doing fantastically well to find the first 2 kills in that round. ShahZaM, like I said, so present in this. Actually, after the first headshot from that exact same angle, is how he finds it. Tommy, the MVP.
He's got his own frag movie. Look at him. Go on, Tommy. Well, here are those double digits, which does, it bears a heavy burden for KRÜ now. Staring at that, it's got to happen now. Look at the buy coming in.
I was going to say, no surprise really going to see the purchase or the investment here to try and keep Sentinels from building up a round in hand, so to say. Sends back on that Guardian. Klaus holding pretty close contact here, and Spycam will spot him out. No swing on the back of it just yet. See dapr on the X-ray making his way through underpass as well, but no push out through arcade from KRÜ. Sentinels will lay out some of this toxin here. Maybe wait for an opening to exploit.
50 seconds still to play with. Not a massive hurry yet. When it gets down to the 20 and the 30s, I start throwing around the word Na'Vi, which we don't love to do, but, you know, is what it is. Tenz starting to open an account of interest, though. Have a little look around, see if you can spot anything out of place, but no one providing much here.
Again, clockwise, this is going to be really awkward because the Poison Orb and the Wall both gone up there, and I'm pretty sure Klaus wasn't full toxin, so actually ShahZaM just walks up.
It's a dry hit.
Yeah.
That's pretty dangerous. Klaus is going to be good for at least 2 here, maybe a 3rd. It's good for Klaus, keeping control, but he's got so much danger around him. Mizzino's kept it in check. Finds dapr, and it's, I dare say, just Tenz, but it is just Tenz alive. 4 stand for KRÜ, and that is so needed. But talk to me about that hit from Sentinels. They just walked in dry, and as said, on the other side, that's dreamy for Klaus.
I mean, I'm looking at the minimap, I'm looking at the wall as it's about to come down. ShahZaM has just walked up here with nothing. Again, you can see here on the screen the toxin. Sentinels were almost going to just have a full advantage there to walk onto B site.
And even Klaus was kind of looking to that right side, expecting that next layer. Where's that next piece of this hit coming from? No, okay, they're stepping through one by one. All right, I'll take that. No worries. And this will at least deny the money starting to swell for Sentinels, so they will be sat back down on the Hiko with 1 frenzy coming through. And on the other side, you still see those specters. There's always one.
Yeah.
We rounded to 3 and up, but this should be clean. We hold the same standard for both teams. If you have that better purchase, even though there's no armor or anything too much behind Sentinels at this point, so I want it to be bare minimum 3 alive.
Kesnet getting his daily challenges out of the way. Killed Tenz with his own Guardian here. ShahZaM actually going to creep back through. Nags wanting a little closer contact here, and he will just get cleaned up. The spike noted as well. Last two members from drop. Sick will find one. Kesnet will find his third.
Happy with 4 alive?
Absolutely. It's a big tick in the box here. Concern being they're not able to... Again, even if they lose this, make it costly again, because then Sentinels go to 11. You have a completely different obstacle in terms of your final full purchase here in this map 1. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, the question then becomes, if they do get to 11, let's say, unforced and forced errors, how hard that is now to maintain, because we know there's pop-off potential with KRÜ. They have a great deal of fire beneath them as individuals, so we'll have to see if that comes online. But for now, we see the purchase coming back out, substantially better for Sentinels, of course. But again, this is a big round here, and Klaus feeling a little brave at the start, but look at the aggression and the pace from this one. dapr now knows he's got problems on both fronts. Zeke's come out, and Klaus is going to push himself forward. He's got 2 on the other side, gets 1, sprays in for the second, has to switch out to the classic, no one there, but panic from Sick. He keeps his cool because ShahZaM has got his back. Klaus goes down, and we're in a 4v4.
Just caught sight of one as well. 6 solo HP, but ShahZaM going to find another kill here onto Kesnet.
He's bailing them out. ShahZaM is literally bailing them out right now. These are 2 huge, impactful kills that he's found at this point, and he's keeping the entire back line pretty much in check. Zino's done well to find Tenz, but there we go, finally the breakthrough. That's ShahZaM now down, and there's still options for KRÜ. It's a 2v2, but look at 6 HP. Still has a flash in the pocket. When does he invest it? He already just did. There's Delzik, gets 1, pushes up Delzik with 2, and KRÜ make it to 6, and they get the weapons, they quell the purchase. Sentinels' money will now be in question.
Absolutely. Financially now, KRÜ in the driving seat here. Yes, still 4 rounds to find, but this is when you start talking about the composition here. Sentinels are kind of left now to kind of re-explore a couple of these setups. You know, the importance of these fact finders in the early round, even more important now so, but wow, ShahZaM, I mean, Sick was, they had Sick dead to rights there. Again, they find the kill on dapr, fine. The thing is, actually, they make the most of this time where actually that's drawn out here, and the pressure comes through. Obviously, Delzik swinging all the way through tree and actually attempting to flank ShahZaM in underpass, but a little bit of an investment here from Sentinel. Just SMGs again, nobody sat below 1,1400, I think, so the purchase is still behind this. Yeah, I think this is... Okay, well...
Ferrari swinging a half from Tenz there, just destroying Nagzit. That's a rifle loss, I'm pretty sure, so... There it is, pinged out straight away. Let's see if there's going to be someone... Oh, Delzik, that's a little sloppy. They've just fed 2 players to this. All under the notion of trying to get that rifle back. Under grabs now down to the 3, but now they know there's a purchase behind the Shaz. Finds Kesnet. Is this where it falls apart? Can Mazzino do something? Anything will do. 2 ain't bad, but now Klaus, a 1v3 beckoning. He was good before. He needs to do more now. Finds the first victim. No, ShahZaM stops it in its tracks. Right back on the tracks is Sentinels now with 11.
Delete the VOD. What were we talking about? Finances?
Don't worry about it. Now they're fine.
Chuck a sheriff in there.
No, ShahZaM, can you just... sorry, Tenz. Could you just swing out and just get that pick real quick?
Yeah.
There it is.
As calm as you like.
Thank you.
As calm as you like.
The impact of that 1 kill, I mean...
It snowballs from there. Again, then Kesnet falls and they know they've got no aftershock. dapr's got the lockdown and drop, and it goes from bad to worse so quickly. Sentinels reacting perfectly in that round.
And it just proves the pedigree of Sentinels. These guys, if you give them a chance, they will absolutely rip it away from you. However, KRÜ aren't done yet. They still have a purchase here. But it does put Sentinels back at level, I guess a level field here. Looking at the purchase coming through, it's pretty decent.
It wasn't shown towards Dish initially. dapr and Sick once again, and Klaus actually on the other end of things will catch Tenz. Again, swinging out. Yeah, yeah. About time. See, Kesnet set up as well to greet some of this pressure towards A main. Actually, ShahZaM going to send the Rolling Thunder through.
I think
they will trade him.
1 on the site, and you can see Kesnet now trying to slow this down. Doesn't facilitate much, as Sick does at least find Delzik. Now we look towards the site. Where's that pressure now coming from? The spike's yet to fully... It's coming this way, but it's yet to fully commit. And look at those back lines being watched here. Nagzit's got them dead to rights if they try and fall away from this.
Absolutely is, and the neural theft will confirm it as well. Nags pushing up a little closer now. He's actually going to whiff, though. That's not what you want to see.
He's got to back away. He has to try and keep and play his life. He has to play his life. He's found a new angle, falling back to the next spot. Now he's just going to stand in. Oh, these are horrible misses. ShahZaM wants to punish this, and they can't land a shot. ShahZaM has opened this back up. Now, where do they hit these rotations? dapr with the punish towards A. They can swing back around if they want to, but that up just ain't hitting anything. As now Zeno and Kesnet deal with one side of the problem. But the site is now open. 10 seconds. Zoms cannot stop here.
left.
He has to hit that site.
Bit as well.
You're right. Can he be denied? Can he be stopped? 5 seconds. He should be able to cross. Fine. Kesnet wants to try and do
That's
something.
huge.
He gets dapr. And now where it's Zoms Popsio. What can you do in this 1v2? Doing everything he can. Trying to put up any defense. And KRÜ fight their way back.
By the skin of their teeth. That was like one of the most back and forth rounds I think we'll see this entire map. But Nags, man, he's got to come online. Again,
You gotta hit those.
You got to hit those.
You got to hit 1 out of 5 of those.
You got to hit 1 out of 5 of those. Yeah.
Oh.
Did we leave it at that?
Like, don't get me wrong.
The importance of that position, though, like you said,
Yes.
he's the one there to make sure that KRÜ can dig their heels in, right?
Yes.
Absolutely make sure that they don't let anything slip the net on A site. As soon as that starts happening and there's a second player coming in the mix from Sentinels to pressure him away, you can see the hesitation. KRÜ thinking, well, do we need
Where
to
do we
run to
go?
B now?
Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Yep.
A little bit of a credit, I guess, to ShahZaM in that, because one, he was still very diligent on that A hole when he was backing away. He was still seemingly aware of the possibility, tried to chase it down. He closed the gap on it. But again, you got to look towards Nagsit to really fire this one up. We need a little more than that.
I mean, dare I say, this is jet diff, right? Again, if you had Nax even just trading in terms of numbers here, KRÜ would have a much, much better time. So I just heard that back to myself. Yeah, if you could just go even with 10s.
Yeah.
Not asking too much, right?
Nah, just keep up. Flash goes in. When's the burst potential? Klaus has been here before, but it's Deltic this time to find Zoms. Klaus unable to find it. The timing not favorable to him, but Deltic's still alive. Finally taken down. The Sentinels should be able to take the site, but Kesnet now has the body in the right place. He predicts the swing, but dapr outdoes him. We're down to a 2v2. These back and forth trades aren't quite perfect yet. The plant going to be coming in, and I don't think that can be contested right now.
Spike planted.
dapr will hold on to drop now, so ShahZaM will be called upon here. Another miss from Nags. dapr over the top. That's Sentinels on map point. And again, ShahZaM, they had him dead to rights there. I think actually even Delzik, was it Delzik, I think, that swung out there. He takes full contact from ShahZaM, and Nags still misses that one. That's tough. KRÜ gonna pump the brakes now, try and call a timeout, gather their thoughts, but that's a tilter. I mean, 2 back-to-back tilting rounds for Nags in particular. See really what the response is here.
I really hope this is a timeout for KRÜ just to get their heads back, because that's... Because you're not feeling yourself. It's 1 round, but let's say you bounce back instantly, right? Let's say he's right back on it, hits that shot, game goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, the pressure right now from Sentinels is absolutely relentless. The pace of some of these rounds, like I said, think back to that hit onto A, again on a scrappy purchase SMGs. It's like the second the breach falls, dapr's throwing the lockdown down, there's all these variables coming through, and it's a real test to the IGL if they're even still standing at that point in the round to kind of micromanage every single aspect of that. So again, it's understandable, but you see here some heated words being exchanged. The duality of coaches. Right there. I think Rorka said in total 3 words.
Keep it up.
Good stuff.
That's only 2.
Guys. Eye me watch.
12-7. Now, Sentinels have found a couple of rounds here and there, but I've got to say it, these have been down to the wire. KRÜ have been pushing, they've been getting close, but some of those individuals just finding those moments for Sentinels, which is what you always expect when we talk about unforced and forced errors. These are some of the perfect examples of that. This is why it's so hard to deal with teams like this. However, we go back through and KRÜ need to do it now. We looked at this veto as pretty favorable to them, but I want to see this gap get smaller. A quick peek over the top. We have no idea.
Nags, man.
It's just one of those days.
My heart breaks.
It's just one of those days for him. See if he can keep his head up. Because that was an opportunity. Maybe destiny calling on that one, but couldn't quite connect as much as he wanted.
I wanted to connect with that out of all the shots in the last few rounds. Yeah. Unfortunately, nothing to do. Sentinels now, again, with the amount of pressure they've been able to put on, a very slow approach to this round. They know that this swings in their favor and allow the paranoia to build here. Effectively, though, this is the heavier side of KRÜ's defensive setup right now. 3 members committed. And actually the flank coming through from Nags, so throw a fourth in the mix as well, Lauren.
But there's that flash, and here comes the push. Klaus has been pretty good at dealing with this, but already
Nags
again gets punished. He's having a nightmare, and it's rare to be able to see it so clearly. Mazzino succeeds towards the tower side of things, but now look at the hit coming in. The rotation gets called. Sentinel's just going to head right back over towards A, but wait. Klaus is here. It looks like Deltic's here as well. They've got bodies on the site, but can they get to safety in time? Just about. It ain't perfect. Divide. It's a desperation call. Sick finds Kesnet, and the push. They're desperate to hold on to it, but it's falling through their fingers as Klaus blind. It does not matter. Sentinels 13-7 on map 1.
Honestly, just an all-round impressive performance. I mean, Baller said you're not seeing any of these guys missing shots. They're not missing opportunities. They're coming out in these opening engagements time and time again. They're creating opportunities for themselves.